What's up?
What's up, everybody?
What up?
Welcome to Monday morning, hot off the mic. Pastor Jamie, me and him hanging out. We have our Red Bulls, not because
We may need them this morning. Yesterday was a long day.
No, we never need it.
No, we don't need them.
We just want it.
We don't need them.
We continue this partnership. Red Bull, we have done, I think this is episode 12. So we have 12 weeks of partnership with you.
You've kept up with how many episodes this is?
I mean, you got to.
I love it.
You got to. So
this one's going to be titled TikTok Theologians.
Ooh, I love it. You guys out there, you TikTok theologians, you watch this. Watch the whole thing.
Man.
Well, you won't have to. You just watch this first clip.
Watch this first part, you'll be mad.
Just watch this first clip. We're going to go right into it.
TikTok theologian era in which we live, we allow out of shape spiritually, immature people to create something that sounds good in 90 seconds that has no accountability to their life, but can create a cool 90-second video that you just eat up and you say, well, that must be right.
Yikes.
Look at this person. Look how many views they have. Look how many followers they have. So obviously they are accurate in what they are saying. And I'm saying to you, because you can see that this person is out of shape whenever they are given to you to be your trainer, immediately red flags go off and you're like, I don't know, I feel like I can do some more push-ups than you, right?
So this is huge here. This is a big part of our culture. So let's talk through, because there's so many, you can easily gain a voice through social media.
I watch it happen all the time. It blows me away. I get sent videos of people that are quickly gaining voices because whatever reason. I mean, they're charismatic. They have some great insight into certain things. But man, I just feel, the Bible's very clear about study and show yourself approved. There's very clear understanding that even Jesus took his time to walk into his call. Again, somebody's going to debate that. I don't mean his calling as in like he wasn't called from birth, but time to walk into, okay, I'm starting ministry now. They're at that wedding.
Yeah.
And so this is very dangerous in the world in which we live. I was watching a guy who was talking about he was debunking guys, and he was talking about the guy, I can't think of his name, Ben Carson, is that his name? No, not Ben Carson.
Are you talking about the guy that Wesley Huff debated?
Yeah.
I just saw something about him.
Billy Carson. And so I saw a video of him, and he's with Joe Rogan, and he's telling him all of these, there's a gate at the Vatican at the top of the stairs where aliens had to make it. And, you're like, people just eating this stuff up because he's saying it with such conviction.
And Joe Rogan's like,
whoa, man, that's crazy,
Yeah.
And then you, all the way down through things like Halloween is pagan and Christmas is pagan and Easter is pagan, that every true Christian historian says, no, that's not accurate. Every Christian historian that you read says, no, that's not accurate. No. But yet we give one guy a voice because at Halloween there's some scary things happening. People dress up scary or whatever. We give guy a voice and we say, oh, this is a pagan holiday. All the way through things like, spiritual gifts and both sides of spiritual gifts and deep teachings on things that they think they have deep revelation on, but they're not in Christian community, which to me, according to the scripture, love trumps their knowledge. So I need to see them walk out love. I need to see that in their life.
So give us some wisdom. What's the balance of using TikTok, Insta Reels, all that stuff, YouTube short clips, using that for our education, things that may stir us to do some things, because we use it in office. There's times where you send stuff to the staff and kind of some, encouragement or, whatever the case is. What's that balance there? Because I'm sure there is a there is still a healthy way to do it. How can we?
Yeah, TikTok, Insta Reels, Facebook. What do they call their reels? Just reels? I don't know.
I think
Anyways,
so.
whatever they called, like that's encouragement. That's fun. That's entertainment. You're not getting theology from that stuff. The people that are presenting theology, you need to make sure if you're watching a Wes Huff video, and you're gaining theology from him, of course, dude's the smartest guy in this field. So yes, make sure that you know the background of their life, that who they are, what their I don't mean credentials in that they've I mean their life in which they've lived. What is their history? What is it that gives them the authority to speak on this subject matter? There's quite a few guys that I listen to, and I love their little 1-minute reels. There's this guy. He went to jail. He's very evolution guy. I can't think of his name. You know what I'm talking about?
I
Talk
think
like this right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's awesome, man. And I just, whenever I saw him the first time, a couple times he showed up on my feed, and I just went and kind of researched him out to see if he was crazy or not. And I'm like, oh, bro, I like this guy.
Yeah.
There's a guy. He's big country boy, got a big beard. Does podcast, and I can't think of his name. Josh Childers called me the other day and he's like, bro, this guy's amazing. I saw you share I shared one of his videos to one of our pastor things. But Josh was telling me, so I went and looked at him and I was like, okay, this is a guy that I can, when he's speaking, I can go, okay, this is something that I actually believe. But less those people and more the rando that has a, John Kilman Ministries page, Apostle John Kilman Ministries. I don't know, whatever. I'm going to say something stupid here, but
Well, I think you're saying it's cool if people do this stuff, but the people you should be listening to are people you can go look at their life,
validate their ministries.
and if you can't, then you can watch it, but be on guard and know that this is something you need to be very careful about what you're watching. So it totally makes sense there.
Yes, you should be able to validate people's ministries.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
If not, it's dangerous.
No.
Just my perspective.
Cool. All right, so we get to the beginning of service, and then into announcements.
I was in a goofy mood yesterday. I don't know why. I was feeling it.
Hey, that's always nice because a lot of times it's I gotta navigate these moments. But again, here's our Maddie moment. Okay, you two talking about
yourself
marriage
and
cruise.
us. Okay, so
And the travel agent, she attends. She's singing on stage today. She's going to be on this side in a pink shirt.
Yep.
Tell them.
If you want to know who it is, her name's Olivia, and she is.
So if you want to go on our marriage cruise, whoever's watching, sign up.
Let her get in touch with you.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Father's Day.
It's after church. I mean, if you want to talk to her, you can. She's carrying around her computer for that very reason. Father's Day is coming up June.
So, for me, I was trying to protect Olivia.
Yeah, right.
I remember Samantha doing an outreach event, and we had on the back, hey, go see Samantha after church, and she just got overwhelmed by everything, by all the people coming to her. So I was just trying to protect Olivia by saying, hey, go sign up Info Central. That way, all of your information's there. That way, she can get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Rather than a line of people waiting there. Even if it was a line of people waiting there, that's great if that was the plan.
Yeah.
But the plan was go sign up at Info Central.
Yeah.
So all I was trying to do was protect Olivia. And maybe Olivia and Maddie had already talked about it. I didn't know she had her, laptop with her or whatever to work on this stuff. So maybe Maddie and Olivia had already talked about it. And so, so it's one of those things where I just kind of said, yeah, okay, well, I mean, obviously you've got a different idea of what's supposed to happen here, so go for it.
So how does that work with you and Maddie's dynamic where in the moment, you're senior pastor, you're the man, my dad would say, you're the man that runs with the ball. But how do you handle like those moments where Maddie says, it's almost like the candle, the lightsaber, those types of things? Is it just part of the relationship?
Yes, that's part of it. What are you going to do? What are you going to say on stage? No, I'm right. No, of course not. I don't know who's right. I don't know who was wrong. I just know that in my head, it made sense. And she didn't do this in the run through. And in the 9 a.m. service, she just kind of mentioned, if you wonder who our travel agent is, she's on the stage singing today. And I thought she was doing it as like, hey, we're using somebody we trust.
Yeah.
I didn't. And then in this service, she's like, go see her after church. This is Olivia. And that's why I was like, or just go sign up at Info Central. So it's just one of those things where, it's not a right or wrong. It's just one of those things where probably we could have got on the same page better beforehand.
But things like that happen.
They happen.
And then we move on to Father's Day.
Okay.
All right, you made this point.
Don't spit it on
did the
Tim
10 Allen there.
I know it's really easy on Father's Day to be like, I'd rather go play golf. Set the example for your family, okay?
That's right.
Set the example. Be the man of God you're supposed to be. Set the example for your family.
That's right.
And don't miss this moment, okay?
Right.
Not because the service is going to be amazing, but because you're the dad. You set the example for your family.
Yeah, I didn't want to say don't miss this moment and then them walk in and be like, Pastor said not to miss it and the service was terrible. No, I mean like you make sure it's a point for you to set the example for your family.
Right, and why is this calling card for dads? Can you talk about?
Yeah, you see a stat. I don't know how true it is because it's kind of been debunked a few times, but it preaches good. So, but if a child comes to faith, this percentage of the family will come. If a mother comes to faith, this percentage of the family will come. And then if a dad comes to faith, and both of those are like 7 and 17 or something, 23. I don't know, really, really small comparative numbers. But if a dad comes to faith, then like 97 or 93% of his family will come to faith. And so you read stats like this, we can minimize the role of a father all we want to, the role of a husband scripturally, but there is something special scripturally of that covering in the family. Yeah. Christy's amazing, but you have a unique role inside of the family. The same way she has a unique role inside of the family. And so dads who set that example, who say, church is important to me, I'm going to be here, creates kids that will want to please dad and will want to honor dad. And so they will allow that to be an example for years to come, the rest of their life, hopefully.
So cool. Good for me as I'm raising a youngin'. But we move more into the service.
Okay.
We're still going. There was a lot of different things that were happening. We had new members today. I didn't really pull anything from that. But there was this card that kind of showed up out of nowhere, and I haven't seen it really before.
If you're here this morning and you have gone through starting point,
it almost was like a magician trick. It seemed like it just popped out of nowhere.
And you are taking your final step this morning to become a member.
What is this card here?
So it was in my coat pocket. The first service I just had it in my hand the whole time. Here at New Members, I had it in my coat pocket, but I pulled it out because I didn't want to forget about it. It was kind of some nuggets of some of the things that we had done during Love Illuminated, little notes for me of what we had done this week and the impact that we had made. I was going to use it at offering time, and so that's what that note was. It's just a quick reminder for me.
So why did you choose to do it on a card versus you could have easily done it like on your phone or some other?
Yeah, because I think it looks cleaner on a card. I think it is, doing it on the back screen. I miss a lot of stuff on the back screen because I'm just talking, and they're back there pointing at the back screen like, hey, look up here. So sometimes I miss that stuff. I don't typically take out my phone. I did yesterday at the end of the service, but I don't typically take out my phone. So it just is one of those, here, this is a reminder. Hold it in your hand the whole time.
Yeah, cool. Love it. So then we go into worship, back to your transitioning. Always there's moments here that I like to pull out. You made a call we've talked about before. You kind of did the wave, the waft, but there was this moment here where I called it one more time. You'll see why here. One more time. So you sung it. That's bold right there. So it's you don't really notice it in worship. Let's talk through that, like the whole I'm singing this.
So sometimes Simeon will pick songs where it feels like the harmony exhortation note is really comfortable for me.
What is that? You gotta unroll that. The harmony.
That is who he's singing that, and you're like, that is who you are, and it's very way more comfortable, exhorting in that moment. That's a song that leaves room for breath to exalt.
Okay.
Waymaker, miracle. It's very.
You're able to talk in between different lyrics.
Correct. And so it gives you opportunities for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even in that moment, it was okay. Sing it again, but then we did do the whole cut. Everybody, there was quite a few moments with that song. Just from that through that process, but singing is something that I love.
Yeah.
And I wish, Sim sings in a completely different atmosphere as me. He sings super high.
Not a key in atmosphere.
Yeah. And so typically I don't get to participate in moments like that. Typically it's I've heard myself back on song. I'm so self-conscious now because I've heard myself back listening to sermons and go, "Oof, why did you try to sing up there with him?"
Yeah.
So typically I don't do that, but every now and then there's a song that's comfortable for you.
You get into the harmony. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. That's cool. Love it. So we're getting to the sermon, and I want to talk about the role of knowledge, because as much as we talk about love being the base, you have to have love in all aspects. I want to talk about how we can have knowledge and do it well.
The kingdom of God. Yikes. So many people in this world have sought knowledge. You should. You should seek to learn, to grow. It should be a part of your life. You should desire knowledge.
Yeah.
But there comes a time in life where I think there's some people in this house that need to put away your books and go out into the world and show the world love.
To me, it's a law student who spends 12 years in law school and never wants to actually go practice law. It's a doctor who spends 20 years in medical practices but never wants to actually go out, or medical training but never wants to go out and actually practice medicine. That's what we do in the kingdom of God. We spend years and years and years learning and growing and never actually go out and put into practice the things that we've learned and grown.
So an advocate for knowledge, if you're going to take those things and...
Yeah, I'm an advocate for knowledge in all spaces. You need to know what you're talking about. But also don't just... There's people who just love knowledge. The spiritual gift of knowledge. And it's the people who... my son's probably one of those. Caleb is probably one of those where he just loves knowledge. He will watch, rando spots or places in a podcast or whatever, and anyways, can you close that door? That's throwing me off a little bit. He will watch every random podcast and gain all this knowledge, and he'll have all the useless facts in the world. So my son's probably one of those random knowledge people, but putting the knowledge into action, we have to get to that place. You can't just soak in to eat up, to grow in it. You have to put it to use.
Yeah, for sure. And so then once you get to this place, you also have, as a pastor, this was kind of one of these moments where you have, obviously it sounded like people a lot of times want your attention, want maybe the attention of the church to be able to share revelation, whatever the thing is that they have, and you kind of...
I'm just telling you, I'm going to say something mean here if this is the part I think you picked. Go ahead.
In their life, or teachers who showed no grace, or people who are on YouTube that have received this revelation about the mysteries, but they aren't... Listen, people come to me and they're like, I want to share this mystery of the word that the Lord has revealed to me. And I'm like, man, that sounds great. My first question is, what church do you go to? What community are you connected to? Where are you involved?
So real talk here. You have people who will they come to a service
come to service. They email me, they send me messages of things they want to share with our church.
And then they genuinely...
I've given you... They send me stuff in the mail I've passed to your mailbox.
Yeah. And they genuinely expect that...
I'm going to give them a platform to share the knowledge that they've received.
But they have to look through it your eyes.
They don't.
But if they did...
If you're looking through my eyes...
Yeah. As pastor, as shepherd...
I am the shepherd of this house.
Yeah.
I have spent 20 years of my life loving, training, discipling, giving my life to these sheep. I don't mean that in any sort of derogatory way.
You're the people.
The people.
Yeah.
I have given my life to these people. Every part of who I am, I've given my life to this call, to this ministry, to these people. And I am going to do everything within my power to protect these people.
Yeah. And that's the most righteous thing you can do is...
I don't know random Joe that comes up to me and says, Miss Kathy a few weeks ago, hey, I've got a word. Sure, come on.
Yeah.
Tell me your word. Let's go. Random Joe, where do you go to church at?
Yeah.
Who's your covering?
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that yesterday because I know, you say covering and people don't fully understand.
Right.
Who's your spiritual covering?
Yeah.
Who is it that whenever you get a word from the Lord, you go sit in their office and you say, let me tell you what the Lord's speaking to me?
Yeah.
If you don't have that, you don't have a place to share your revelation from the Lord here. And I know that one day somebody's going to come in here who's an angel and doesn't, I don't know. I don't know how everybody can take this wrong and they can twist this and manipulate this, but I'm telling you, I'm not just going to let any random person share a word of wisdom or knowledge with the house that I've fought so hard to protect.
Yeah. And that's the honest truth behind it is you're protecting those people either you personally or the ministry has invested a lot of times, a lot of deep dive tears. You've seen hurt in people's lives and things they've had to work through, and you never know what that one. If you just said, "Here's the microphone, go," whatever that person say can reset this person back to a place that's so unhealthy.
There was a guy named Jaron. This was 12, 13, 14 years ago, okay? Jaron got radically saved. Off drugs, off alcohol. I mean, it was amazing what God did in his life. He spent 9 months being amazing in the kingdom of God. He was just the guy that you think of. Somebody radically changed and given his life to the Lord and just followed after the Lord, right? Jaron all of a sudden, not in our church, but went and listened to somebody preach who preached about end times and it's coming to an end. And Jaron went and build a bomb shelter. I'm not exaggerating. Build a bomb shelter, put food storage, ammunition. Went to that place.
Mm.
And I think of Travis Cotton, somebody that you and I love. He went down a YouTube rabbit hole one time where it was not good for him.
Mm-hmm.
And walking with him through those seasons where I just wanted to punch him, you know what I mean? And
mm-hmm.
But he's letting these YouTube guys just have so much credence in his life, And then you see videos of a guy that Caleb set me up with, inspiring philosopher. They'll be like, oh, this is the last pope after this because there's no more room on the wall after this.
Yeah.
It's it, the end of the world. They don't have anybody else after this. They don't have no more slots. And then the inspiring philosopher, his clip, he's like, except for if you turn this way in the room, you can see that there's 3 more spots here, and then over here there's 6 more empty spots here. And it's like, but if all you saw was that there's no more spots and it's the end of the world, and then all of a sudden your mind goes to a place going down this rabbit trail, you start building bunkers, and you start, hoarding food to save you and your family during that season. And I'm just going to do everything I can to protect my people. And I am, Paul talks about being jealous for the people that he's pastoring. I'm jealous for the people that I pastor, to make sure that they are being fed solid spiritual food, and not just, and I don't mean that like milk and meat type thing. I mean like theologically solid, sound food.
Yeah. And so, as much as that may ruffle feathers, that's okay.
It's okay.
Because of what you have to do as the pastor. And so sometimes that's what it takes. But maybe somebody who's ruffling their feathers will find a place to...
Sometimes I miss a moment because I have to be so protective.
Right. Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's fine. But as much as we maybe ruffle feathers sometimes, there's nice ways to say things. Going to my you see how I did that next segment.
Did I not say it nice?
No, I thought you.
Okay.
I want this. You'll see here.
Maybe you went to Planet Fitness and you signed up for a gym membership, and you're like, "Hey, I want to get some personal training lessons," and they were like, "Yeah,
I think I'm signed up. I don't know."
And all of a sudden, the person that comes out to train you is not physically fit. That's a nice way to say it.
That's the nice way to say it.
They're not physically. They don't look like Justin. Okay. They're not physically.
So I felt like that was a nice way to say
9
it.
9 a.m. I didn't say it nice.
What'd you say at 9 a.m.?
He sent some fat dude out there to train you.
Oh, okay. So you changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was like, how am I gonna say this?
Because you felt it. You felt it.
Because then there's no like I'm fat. You're fat. You know what I mean? Like,
right. So actually, I had a guy tell me I was average size.
You're not average. Fat.
I thought it was the biggest compliment in the world.
We're not average.
Nobody's ever called me average in my life. I came out fat. Like, that's just how it be.
But you say fat, and people see, they may see you and me, or they may see, so I think in the 9 a.m. I said something like, they send this person off of my 600-pound life out there to you.
Yeah.
And so that probably wasn't the nicest way to say it. So in the 11, I tried to tweak it and make sure that I said it a little nicer.
And so, obviously now that I hear this in the 9 a.m., you didn't say that, but the obvious one to me is when we're talking about we might say seasoned saints.
Yeah.
And not just old people.
Yeah. Because if you say elders, people think you're talking about spiritual elders.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say old folk, you never know what line that is with old folk, because I try my best to use seasoned saints.
Because if not, I'm sure you get some kind of
all the time.
We'll call it feedback.
It's the reason why I stopped saying everybody, my wife and the people who lead this ministry, try their best to get me to say that seniors events are for 55 and older.
Mm-hmm.
Except for I had a 55-year-old come and was not nice to me.
Yeah.
About being they are not a senior. So that's the reason why now I say 60 and older. And every time they're like 55, and I'm like 60 and older.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that, because even at Aynor, when we do senior announcements or whatever, I'll say some people try to say a certain age. And some people try to say bald and gray hair. So it can't be that, because then I would be at the senior club or whatever. So, I totally get it. So here we go. Next part here, we talk about mountains being moved. So let's walk through this concept of why do we want mountains?
These prayers of faith, man, they're so awesome. I'm so thankful for men and women who are so bold inside of their prayers. I'm so thankful for these giants that'll declare bold things. But if you are declaring bold things without love, if you are trying to move mountains without love, why?
Why do we want?
Why?
Yeah. To me, first thing that comes to my mind is it's nice to...
I think I say it in just a little bit. You don't have to play it all because it's probably 30 seconds later. But I do say at some point this selfish pat on the back of you moved a mountain, good job.
Which is very real.
It's very real.
Like, if I laid hands on somebody, it's big faith prayer. If I find out that they experience healing. I'm like, whoa, like, I'm like, let's find somebody, like that's
Line
the
'em up.
reality.
Where's the sick folk? I
Yeah,
got it.
let's go. Boom, boom, boom. That's the natural like reaction to that, but that's very unhealthy,
Very unhealthy.
obviously. So
which is why we have to be motivated by love.
Okay.
Which is why in praying for you for a mountain to be removed out of your life. When we found out the news of JD3, we came over to your house, not motivated by let's see who can pray the prayer to heal JD3.
Yeah.
We came over to your house motivated by love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those prayers change things.
Yeah. There was such you could feel the love, and then that turned into the faith in the room was kind of built up in that moment because of the love that was driving the moment.
No doubt.
I totally see that, and I mean for transparency, that's something. It's for me as a young guy, I've had to battle and face and moments like that, because I've seen moments where God's done some things, and I have to always in my mind go, why are you doing this? Stay humble. This has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. You are a vehicle. You are an outlet. You are just a vessel.
It's hard for us to grasp that.
Yeah. I try to remember. I think you say this. I'm just a nasty human who's just experienced the grace of God and trying to walk that out.
And the flip side is you're an oracle of God.
At the same time.
This is whenever I talk in MIP, a lot of times I talk about the balance of you're an oracle of God and a servant of God.
Mm-hmm.
You're the voice of God, but you're also to go down to the lowest place of servant. And so you have to stand up there and boldly declare, thus saith the Lord. Here goes the word of the Lord over this house as the mouthpiece of God in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you walk off the stage, and if you're not careful, when you see a piece of trash, you say, I'm the oracle of God. I'm the voice of God. Pick up that piece of trash. But what you have to do is when you walk off, and I say stage, platform, whatever moment of spiritual, giftingness, when you walk out of that moment, you see a piece of trash, you pick up the piece of trash, because you are both. You're an oracle of God and a servant of God.
So good. So then we talk about one day. Let's
love. He who abides in God abides in love, and this love is perfected in us, so that one day you can stand before the Lord.
Yeah.
And on that day, on Judgment Day, you can have confidence.
1 John, right?
1 John
4,
16, 17.
Not in your spiritual giftings. You can have confidence not in all of the works in which you did. You have confidence in His love, the perfection of His love.
That fired me up when I was watching it back, just as I was taking notes, because I don't like. And when I'm praying, I have a certain level of, God, I'm believing you're going to heal this person. God, I have a certain level of hope in Him, out of that faith that I have or whatever. I have these moments of confidence.
Yeah.
But there's this one thing that can be unwavering. I was just like,
yeah. When
I was watching this back, I was like, like there's so many different things. I don't have confidence in anything.
Yeah.
But this thing.
Your confidence when you stand before the Lord on the day of judgment, which means the highest level of confidence you should have in anything is His love for you.
It seems can seem so simple, which you talk about a little bit in this sermon. The love of God seems so simple. I think you talk about that with knowledge when we go through that piece or whatever.
Yeah, it is the most incredibly in-depth thing you will ever learn.
Yeah, you actually said right.
I said I never say write stuff down.
Yeah.
This is one of those things you need to write down.
Mm-hmm.
It is the most incredibly in-depth thing that you could, subject matter that you could ever search out, but also so simplistic that a child can understand it.
So good. And so there's this moment though, all of a sudden, all right?
Really cool with that theology. And then all of a sudden we come in covenant relationship with him. God, you love me so much whenever I was a sinner. And then all of a sudden, now I'm a believer and I'm struggling with my sinful nature. And now all of a sudden, you're mean and nasty.
These 2 points
and
back to back.
me.
Just
this warped theology that God loves you so much that he was willing to die for you. And now all of a sudden, you come into covenant relationship with him. And now all of a sudden, he's shooting lightning bolts at you.
How backwards.
How warped is this theology?
But I feel like it comes out of a place of how we just know human love.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's the relationship even you have with your spouse sometimes, and you would, because you act a certain way, then their response to you.
Yeah. I love you as long as it's reciprocal.
Yeah.
I love you as long as I'm loving you, you're also loving me and doing what I need you to do.
Right.
But at any point I disappoint you, then you're quick to tell me how you will rip your love away from me. People have walked out of my life. They've ripped their love away. And so the expectation of our relationship with the Lord is that's what he does.
When we say, no, that's not it at all.
He loves you.
Mm-hmm. And even that's not even a concept for people, if this is your, if not rookie, if you're a baby in the faith, like you just got in this thing, you can feel that way. But there's a lot of people who come maybe from a legalistic background, come from who are seasoned,
very mature
in the faith, mature in the Christians who feel that way,
who are trying to earn God's love.
When in actual reality,
I actually said in this part, I said something to the effect of, "Oh no, Pastor Jamie, don't tell people this because then they'll stop living righteously." And you're like, no. Like, you live righteously because of his love for you. Like, you love him, he loves you. That's why you live righteous.
Mm-hmm. Not out of fear of disappointing him.
Yeah.
If you do it from that perspective, it changes everything for you. Because now what you're doing around you is like, I love him so much that I want to
live right.
Yeah.
Because then if you're doing it out of fear of disappointment, you're trying not to do wrong. Yeah. If you're motivated by love, you're trying to do right, which are two completely different paths. I'm just walking and trying not to mess up versus I'm trying to do everything out of love and out of righteousness and to follow after him because I love him and he loves me.
And I want to show him. How much I love him. Man, so good. And so, speaking of love.
Receive my love. Will you stand with me?
You love some hymns.
So I do.
Oh, how he loves you and me.
I was singing this.
I'm not sure why hymns just... they just flow better.
Yeah, it's just this almost wave of melody. That was a poet right there. I don't know if I'm keeping playing this just so I can listen to it again, but
it's so good, and it's not even like this amazing poem of love.
Yeah,
it's so simple.
Yeah.
Oh, how he loves you and me.
Yeah, you just sway back and forth as you're listening. So, have you always been a hymn guy?
So I walk around the house right now still. I walk around the office right now just randomly busting into song. It was the life in which I lived. My mom, they used to pick on her that you say 3 or 4 words and she's got a song that equates to those 3 or 4 words she's singing. So, those 3 or 4 words you're saying. So it's something that's always been a part of my life. Hymns were always a part of my life because of just the church that I was raised in. It's a part of what we did. And so yes, hymns is a huge part of my life and ministry and prayer time. And typically there'll be a time where I'll get to the end of service and I get stuck on a song of what I want to do. And I'll text my mom and I'll go, "Hey Mom, give me a hymn that goes with this." She'd be like, "Oh, have you thought about this one?" So yeah, my mom's she's very similar to her and Caleb. How Caleb is now is how my mom is or was. She just a jukebox.
So speaking of family,
Hmm?
there was this moment at the end. I thought I was done. Like I was like getting to the end. I was like, because I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Full transparency, I watched the whole thing all the way to the end with baptisms.
It's good for you.
And I get to the end, and there's this moment with Uncle James.
Yeah.
So first, before we play the clip, let's talk about the impact of Uncle James in your life.
Yeah.
In this ministry, things people don't even realize. And then I'm going to get to a specific clip after this. I'm going to play it, and we'll talk through a couple things there.
Yeah, for sure. Selfishly, to my life, Uncle James has. I talk about starting off in ministry and how none of my family wanted to come to church here. None of my family wanted to be a part of what God is doing here, and still to this day, I don't have. My brother is a very and I don't it's awesome. I wish he's a very family church. Like all of our family goes to church with my brother. Went to church with my dad, and none of the family would come to church with me, even still to this day. Like my grandmother, I love her, but this is a true story. Like she's never. I don't know that she's ever heard me preach. Maybe she has now. I don't know, but maybe she went to camp meeting or something. But my grandmother's never heard me preach. When me and my dad were sharing facilities, my grandmother went to the service, my dad's service, to hear Neil Nolan preach. Came from her church to hear Neil Nolan preach, and then I'm preaching the next service and didn't stay around to hear me preach. And so that's kind of almost how you feel inside of the family. They love me. They're proud of me, but I'm not their pastor. My brother's my family's pastor, larger family. But Uncle James, 10, 12 years ago said, God is, maybe even longer than that, God has sent me here. I'm with you. And him and Aunt Joanna have stayed there and been a part of what God is doing. And it's the first time that I had maturity in the room, first time that I had spiritual guidance. He would always tell me, I'm not here to run anything. I'm here to cheer you on, to pray for you, to encourage you. And that's what he's done through the years. He has just been that for me in ministry. Selfishly, personally, my Uncle James he has done well financially in his life at times, and sometimes he's a builder, so there's times where it's been hard for him as well.
Sure.
But some of the times where he was doing well financially, or even times where he struggled, where he still wanted to bless my family, where the first 10 trips we ever took to Disney was because of Uncle James, where he would say, "Hey guys, I know y'all can't afford it. I mean, we were broke. We couldn't afford it." And he said, "Hey, I want to take you and your family. Come down there with us." Took my dad and mom, my brother and his family, and take us all down there to Disney. And he'd pay for our rooms, and he would just make sure that we had the best time ever. And so part of our love for Disney came from Uncle James doing this for me and my family. We couldn't take other vacations. That was our vacation, because that's all we could do was this. And then you go on even further than that personally, where he built my home, not the one I'm living in now, but the one previous of that. He has just helped so many people around this. Someone like you who couldn't have bought a home had it not been for Uncle James stepping in and helping. The Angie and Sam Kegels that couldn't have bought a home. My brother who couldn't have bought a home had it not been for my Uncle James stepping in and helping. So he is just this larger than life figure. And then on top of that, you go into the mission field, where Uncle James has given his life to missionaries and missions. Part of my love for missions comes from him. My first mission trip was because he pushed me to go, and part of my love for missions comes from him. He has built, I don't even know the exact number now, but like 37 churches across the world that he's built. He's either sent the money for them to build, or he personally has went to oversee a building project. And that's amazing what he's been able to do even on the mission field. So there's so many layers of how to honor and celebrate Uncle James that to pick one would be very difficult.
Yeah.
I could pick one and talk for the next hour on that one thing.
Yeah, I just wanted people to hear, before we do this piece right here, I wanted them to hear the lore of Uncle James, who he is, the guy who will just grab you by the arm, and you have no clue what he's going to say to you, but you know there's going to be an impactful moment there, and he loves on you and he loves well. So we get to this moment. You have people come around Uncle James and pray for him, and then you do this.
Incredible men and women of faith are able to do. Watch this, okay? Now, I want you, if you are sick in your body, you need healing in your body, I want you to line up down this aisle right here, and I want this man of God who's struggling with sickness in his body to pray a prayer of healing over you and watch what the Lord does inside of this moment. If you need prayer, if you have a sickness in
Chrissy
your
was
body,
right there beside me while I'm watching this. What is going on?
There's an altar usher at the end of the aisle. They will direct you as soon as he's done to the next available team member. The rest of the prayer team, if y'all would come gather on this side.
You said, rest of the prayer team, go down there, Uncle James, you come here, and you just get ready.
Get ready. People started running to get in line.
Yep.
Tell me about the response.
People running to get in line. I had to preach at IPP yesterday. I left church. I went to go hug him to tell him bye, and there was still people waiting to be prayed for.
You're kidding. Wow.
So this was at 12. I left at 12:40. 40 minutes later, people still waiting in line to be prayed for.
And what was it? Just the call to make that call? Was it just what was running through your mind, your spirit, to make you say, this guy struggling?
I know Uncle James.
Right.
And I know praying for Uncle James is great. He's all for prayer, but his heart is, I want to pray for somebody else.
Yeah. And
so let's stir up his faith here in this moment, and then now, okay. And honestly, it was one of those, like, well, I want to put him to work right now.
Yeah.
He was just over there weeping and crying as people were praying for him. So it's like, okay, now let's let him make a kingdom impact. It was a cool moment. It really
love it. Like I said, I was watching it back and I was like, oh my goodness, because I know the struggle, and I know him, and so for that to happen in that moment, the people in the house I know were impacted by that moment. It made me say, I wish I was there for that.
Yeah, it was cool.
I love it. So then you get to this moment. We're kind of working through baptisms here, but you make this call here. You're dialoguing. You're having conversation. Coach is talking to the quarterback.
Say that out. Say.
I believe.
Yes, Lord.
So you make the song change. Was this practice?
No. This was, obviously the whole Uncle James thing.
Yeah.
A few moving parts here. Our guitar player, Paul, it was his first time playing.
Yeah.
Paul had a nightmare the night before that I changed the songs going into Sunday. So Paul's terrified of the fact that I may change a song. So in that moment, what I did was I looked over at him and I said, I'm sorry, Paul. And then I looked at Simeon and I said, can we do Healer? And because I wanted this to be, yes, we're going to baptize and we're going to celebrate with baptisms, but I want what's happening here in the altar with Uncle James. I want God's healing power to flow. And so what I did was, as we sung the song, I told everybody, hey, if you don't know what to pray or you've run out of things to say, I just want you to stretch your hands this way and begin praying for them, declaring this out. I believe he's our healer. I believe he's more than enough,
And you can tell the viewers this. I have on here so many layers, but I didn't know the part with Paul but I was thinking, like, if you didn't practice this, Simeon's playing one song.
Yeah.
Just think about the what has to go into this. Simeon's playing one song. You're talking to him as he's playing
And singing.
And you're saying, "Hey, I need you to go to whatever."
Yeah.
And then he's still playing, and then he goes, boom, into this. That
Shows how
seems
talented Simeon is.
but everybody's like, "Oh, we're just going to another song."
Yep.
And then I'm hearing it, and I'm like, "What are we doing? Like,
Yep.
no, like."
So typically, I will be able to sing a song that he's playing. I think he's playing "What a Beautiful Name It Is," and then I'll be able to go, okay, that starting note, "What a beautiful name it is. I believe you're my healer." I'll be able to find out if it's going to be an easy transition, and then I'll sing through it to see, okay, does this go some crazy place? So I knew that it was going to be an easy transition for him, and I knew he could do it. And so then, hey, transition. Sorry, Paul. Hey, can you do healer? Everybody stretch your hands this way. Sing this out. Okay, everybody stretch your hands this way. Reba, can you put these words up on the screen? It was just this whole. It was a moment. It was a cool moment.
So that you could then get to the point where then the crowd, even if you don't know how to pray for healing, you're declaring this song.
You're declaring in this house
over people,
building our faith that He's our healer.
Wow. So many, like I have on here, so many different layers there. Hopefully you out there can appreciate moments like that. And I'll say it's not I'll say from a production standpoint, looking at it now, but the spiritual implications of all that stuff that was at play there. So what a nugget. And then at the end, you have this moment where you talk about being reverent.
Yeah.
So I want to play this because this doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah.
We do talk about it at times.
It's tough,
Isaac
man.
comes
It's
out
tough.
and Isaac will say, "Hey, thank you for being here. If you will, stay reverent." But you made a call here to.
Well, he's going to dismiss us.
I knew as soon as I went, "Let's go,"
Please be reverent.
everybody runs.
There are people.
But there's
here
a
in this
line of
moment
people
that are
down
going
this aisle that's
they've
waiting to
been
get
praying
prayed
for a long time, and I just believe the Spirit of God is going to sweep in, and they're going to.
And the way we grew up.
You didn't move until they were done praying.
You don't even go to the bathroom.
No.
Don't go talk to the person you see across the row.
I need you to help me, okay? I know you want to get out, and if you're going to kids, it'll be a little inconvenient for you, and that's okay.
This was
right?
good.
Yeah.
This was good.
Because we care about them. It's okay that it's inconvenient to us because we care about them, right? So the inconvenience may, instead of, you come this way, you may have to go all the way around. That's okay, right? Right? It's okay. It's okay if you got to go outside in the hot. It's okay. It's okay if your loved one's in line and it takes a little longer to get through. It's okay, right? It's okay that it's inconvenient to us. It's okay that your fingers hurt and you got to play a little bit longer, right? It's okay. Because we care about them that's standing in this line.
And that's
we're
real talk.
agreeing with them in faith here in this.
Because there's times, like you said, where fingers hurting. There'll be times where Sim will come.
He's got blisters on the end of his
But
fingers.
he's almost like a warrior who just came out of battle. He's like,
look how cool this is.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about reverence. I know sometimes we miss this here.
Yeah.
And you had this moment. You said it's so healthy for us. Let's talk through it as we
I
end
did
this
it
pod.
before Let's Go because I knew as soon as we go, "Let's go," everybody goes, "Shoom."
Yeah.
Even as Isaac comes out and he's dismissing, everybody's
It's crazy.
Everybody's zooming.
It's like
out.
an evacuation.
It
drill.
really is. It's wild. And I've been a part of moments where I walk off of the platform and I come out the side door right there towards the altar area and I walk to the front. I know there are times that whenever I come off and I'm, let's say, getting Gatorade or putting my jacket on or whatever it may be, in those moments that there's loud ruckus even happening around the altar area.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to make sure that we kept this moment what it was. These people need prayer. So go somewhere else. Go around the long way. Don't you dare think that this is about you today. It's not about you. It's about these people.
Yeah. I don't know where the people who didn't probably grow up being taught this. It probably doesn't make sense unless you're told this, and it takes probably time for that to click with people. And so it's cool to, have those moments where you can, okay, I see this happening. This is why we do this.
This is a holy moment.
But like for us, that's how we grew up. We just kind of, even at camp meetings and stuff like that, where services are going for hours.
Yeah.
And you want to go to, go
Dinner.
to dinner before every place closed.
Mm-hmm.
You're standing there.
Yeah. In reverence to what
Yeah.
God is doing.
Because we truly believe if God's doing something there, we want to stay. There's no we don't know what the service isn't done yet.
That's right.
So that's a cool moment to see that play out. Hopefully that helps some people there. Hopefully this pod helped you out today. Maybe you heard something you love. Let us know in the comments. Questions, always email us at hotoffthemic@Palmetto Pointe with an E. PalmettoPointeChurch.com.
Thank you for all your hard work putting this together every single week. I know it's a lot. Sunday's busy, going straight into, young adults and everything going on at Aynor and service times and, family, and trying to do this after, fit this in to be able to walk in on Monday morning at, 5:30 ready to knock this out. Well, kudos to you, man.
Well, I love being here hanging out with you. So
appreciate you.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.